The term triple threat tends to get thrown around real loosely nowadays, but when it comes to singer, songwriter, producer, dancer, actress, well, y'all get the point. Tinashe Kachingwe, more popularly known as Tinashe, seemed to have had a promising mainstream career going for her back in 2014 when she released her biggest hit to date, 2 On. The accompanying music video showcased her dance skills, and many old and new fans compared her to the likes of Janet Jackson, Aaliyah, Beyonce, Britney Spears, and more. With her being signed to record label RCA, more on that later, she's gotten the opportunities to collab with legends like Britney and featured artists like Chris Brown. As we know, only few artists get the chance to really make it into these mainstream streets, but only few have the ability to keep us in a chokehold for years to come. Label issues, generic pop starism, and colorism? At one point, it seemed like Tinashe's career had made it to the select few, but years down the road, we are left wondering what happened to Tinashe and why is she so popular with South Korean idols and fanboys. Before she was Tinashe the performer, her early beginnings included her voice acting for children's movies and TV shows and guest appearances in shows like 2.5 Men. Coming from a line of musical talents, Tinashe's aspiration for music comes to no surprise. In 2011, she joined the group The Stunners that also included singer Hayley Kiyoko. The short-lived girl group opened up for acts like Justin Bieber before splitting just a year later, crediting a difference in career aspirations. During her stint in the group, Tinashe learned how to engineer and produce songs, and following her exit, she created mixtapes in her bedroom studio which caught the attention of RCA execs, and they signed her to the label in 2012. Her most popular body of work to date, Aquarius, was released on October 3, 2014, and during this period, RCA thought it would be a brilliant idea to have Tinashe's first breakout song use the same beat almost every other club banger was used at the time. We'd hear the line "mustard on the beat ho" throughout the entire summer of 2014, being used on multiple radio hits, but nevertheless, Tinashe wasn't like the rest of the other girlies. Well, she was, but not when it came to performing, despite her label not using the moment to book her big gigs like maybe performing on The Ellen Show, the VMAs, etc. Tinashe's talents were evident and her fanbase began to grow rapidly. Her follow-up single, All Hands on Deck, even got the green light from Kanye West, which made people want to tune in to what would have been the next big thing. Being personally chosen by Miss Janet Jackson herself to perform a tribute at the 2015 BET Awards, and set to tour with Britney Spears, the public got the chance to see Tinashe pull out her best moves. Creative Differences would star her second album, Joyride, for about a year, but in between she got the chance to drop a side project titled Night Ride. Fans were getting fed, but it wasn't the meal they thought they'd be served. Despite all of this ongoing success, something was lacking and the public definitely noticed. Although she was releasing bops, the promotional side of things began to die down quite a bit and the general public began losing interest. The lack of substance and depth into what Tinashe was really about is what fans and non-fans credit the halt of Tinashe's mainstream successful hike. In an article for Complex magazine, they recall a time when Tinashe performed at her album release party. But instead of performing any songs on the album, she had performed already released songs from previous albums like 2 On and All Hands on Deck. There was little pause in between her performances, and at the end of it all, she said, "My album drops at midnight, so go buy that ish." That's it, that was all. Sigh. In true RCA fashion, the push of their newly signed artists starts off strong, but after the second half, they seem to have a routine of moving on to the next, and we see that time and time again with many of their signed talents. Tinashe kinda confirmed this when she confessed that the focus of former One Direction group, Zayn Malik's solo album, is what really stalled the release of her second album. During an interview with The Guardian, Tinashe alludes sexism and colorism being a contributing factor to her stagnant sales. There's a lot of sexism in the music business, a lot of sexism. As far as female producers or female engineers, when you're in these studios, it's all men. It's so rare that they'd not even expect me to have an opinion. It's so much easier for male artists, I know it is. My cousin was with a friend of a friend who was in high school and she was like, "I'm a fan of Kehlani," but in a way that was like, "So I can't be a fan of Tinashe too?" Then my friend posed the question, Why not be a fan of both? It's kind of like sport. People feel like they have to pick a side. There are hundreds of male rappers that all look the same, that sound the same, but if you're a black woman, you're either Beyonce or Rihanna. It's very, very strange. Tinashe goes on to say, there's colorism involved in the black community, which is very apparent. It's about trying to find a balance where I'm a mixed woman, and sometimes I feel like I don't fully fit into the black community. They don't fully accept me. Even though I see myself as a black woman, that disconnect is confusing sometimes. Some members of the Beehive and the Rihanna Navy must have misinterpreted what was stated, because not too long after the interview was posted, people began dragging Tinashe, saying how her on and off again career was nothing to do with Bay, Re, or colorism. But as we know, that wasn't what Tinashe meant whatsoever. She was actually speaking about her colorism in general and not colorism relating to her music career. But it's the internet, so are we really all surprised? Although things were shaky with her label and her career seemed to be on autopilot in the United States, over in South Korea was a different story. Tinashe's influence over the K-pop entertainment industry and the overall music scene had a huge impact. Artists and girl groups like Hyolyn and DIA's song Woo Woo, which is basically a replica of Tinashe's song Super Love, and K-hip-hop artists and idols like Jay Park, Yoongyun, and BTS's Namjoon have all confessed their love for the Two-on singer. The rise of Tinashe's supremacy in Korea is kind of a mystery. We don't know how exactly she blew up over there, but we're here for it. In 2018, Tinashe joined season 27 of ABC's Dancing with the Stars, paired up with professional dancer Brandon Armstrong. Despite how amazing she'd done, the duo were eliminated only on week 4. In 2019, she waved goodbye to her record label RCA and signed with Jay-Z's Rock Nation, but only for new management under her own freshly established label, Tinashe Music Inc. Her fourth album, Songs For You, was the first body of work released under her own label and includes the bop that keeps on bopping, Save Room For Us. Fans applauded the creative direction of the album, and some even said that it was her best project thus far. That is, until she released her latest album, 333, in August of this year. Tinashe's creative direction since leaving RCA has definitely gone all the way up, and you can hear it in her last 2 albums, but we can't place all the blame on her old label. No matter how talented someone may be, we know, especially in today's microwave climate, that talent alone just doesn't cut it anymore. People want depth and connection, and the surface level connection Tinashe had between her and her supporters just wasn't it. The bottom line is, Tinashe has failed to cultivate a fan base that identifies with her. What separates her from the rest? Who and what Tinashe is truly about. With the rise of streaming services like Spotify, independent artists have a much better chance of being discovered by new listeners, and to be honest, the artists these new labels are pushing out just ain't it. But that's just me though. It's safe to say that Tinashe isn't a one-hit wonder, nor is she truly going anywhere. Her music may have been put on pause for a bit, but it's beginning to accelerate to new heights that I don't think the public is quite ready for. As of late, Tinashe was spotted co-hosting the red carpet at this year's MTV Video Music Awards and continues to work hard and push out new music. You're either at this super high level of fame and dominating the whole world, or you're a failure, which is just not accurate. My definition of success has changed over the course of this album. I've learned that making the music and art and videos I want to make, that's enough for me. I don't feel like I need all the accolades. However long it takes, I know I will get to my end goal. I'm never going to stop. I'll make music forever. Well, Tinashe, for an independent artist, you're doing amazing, sweetie. Do you think Tinashe's artistry keeps getting overlooked? Let us know down below in the comment section, and stay tuned for more true celebrity stories.